Good afternoon, YouTube. I have a wonderful recipe for you today that I want to share that I am going to be cooking with my family. Guys, this is one of the most expensive recipes that I cook in my kitchen, and I am going to show you how I prepare this recipe. First of all, I'm going to get into all the ingredients, guys, okay? You are going to need some garlic, and we are going to use a lot of garlic, okay? You are going to need some onion. You are going to need green onions or the spring onions. You are going to need, I like to use this Louisiana product here, and this is our gumbo base. This is going to be our gumbo base. I like to hack the recipe with this gumbo base. Also, we have 2 bags of our OKRA that we are going to use, and we have sausages. We have the kind of spicy smoked sausages, and then we are going to use some smoked sausages, another brand. We're going to use 2 different smoked sausages in this recipe. We are going to use some chicken wings in this recipe, guys. And we also are going to use some shrimp in this recipe. And this is 2 pounds of shrimp. I like to use the larger size shrimps for my recipe. We are going to use 4 pounds of our snow crabs, guys. This is the fillet that we are going to use. My mother loved to put gumbo fillet in her gumbo. I am going to show you how I prepare one of my gumbo recipes. I prepare my gumbo 2 or 3 different ways. But this is one of the ways that we are going to do this weekend. Guys, this is a really, really expensive recipe. And this recipe that I am going to share with you cost me about $125. But anyway, like I said, this is one of the most expensive recipes that I prepare in my kitchen. But we're gonna learn how to make gumbo, and my mother taught me how to make this recipe. So we're gonna get right into the recipe. Just a moment, guys. Okay, we got our water boiling, guys. Now, the first thing that you do with this recipe, you are going to take and put your chicken wings into the boiling water, guys. And we are going to let these chicken wings boil for about 30-35 minutes. Okay, so you got your chicken going in there, guys. And just let them boil for about 35 minutes. That's the first thing you do. The chicken takes the longest to get done, guys. So we have to cook the chicken first. Then after you put your chicken into the pot to boil, you're going to add a lot of garlic and onions. If you prefer not to put the garlic or the onions in, some people don't like garlic and some don't like onions. But this is how I start my recipe out. And I just let my chicken wings boil for about 30-35 minutes. So in this container here, I have my blend. I have my accent. I have a pinch of salt. I have some pepper in my blend. I have black pepper, white pepper, accent, and Lorry season, and a little complete. Okay, so we're gonna add that into the recipe. Also, we are gonna take some garlic powder, and we're gonna add into our recipe, and some onion powder into the recipe. And we're just gonna let that cook, guys, for about 35 minutes. Then after you mix all your blends together, I like to add a little of my Red Lobster seafood season. We're gonna add that into the recipe. And then we are going to put the top on our recipe. And we are gonna let these chicken wings cook with our onions and our garlic and all of our seasons. And we're gonna let that cook for 35 minutes, and then we're gonna mix our recipe up, guys. Guys, this pot is probably about 35 years old. My mom asked me to buy her a pot one year for Christmas to make some gumbo in. And when my mom passed away, I just kept the pot, guys. And this is a wonderful pot to cook your gumbo in. So we are going to try to fix all of the ingredients that I showed you earlier into this pot. If not, we're gonna try to do half at least. But this is how I start off my gumbo. I boil my chicken for about 30 to 35 minutes. And like I said, guys, this is a wonderful recipe. All right. All right, guys, so we're gonna get right into the next step of this recipe, guys. Now we got our chicken wings cooking up. See all that pepper and season on that chicken wing. It's cooking up pretty good, guys. So now that our chicken wings been cooking for about 30 minutes, we are going to get into the next step of our recipe, guys. Okay, the next step to the recipe, we are going to cook our sausages on both sides until they brown, because we need the sausages to go into this recipe. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to take some olive oil and put it into the pan. Now guys, if you do not want to cook your sausages, brown them on both sides before you put them in your gumbo. It's up to you. But I like to brown my sausages. So instead of using 2 packages of sausages, guys, I decided that I was going to use 1. And we are going to put these sausages in a pan, and we're just going to let them brown on both sides for about 10 minutes. And I cut my sausages up kind of medium size, guys. You can use any smoked sausages that you have in the kitchen. I am going to use some spicy smoked sausages in my recipe. We got our chicken cooking up, guys. And we are going to start putting this recipe together, guys. Just let your sausages just brown on both sides. Let's turn them over, guys. And just let them brown. We're going to cook these sausages up. Then we're going to get into mixing this recipe up. Okay, guys, we're going to get right into mixing this recipe up. I added some water to our chicken, guys. I added 4 cups of water to this recipe. So we are going to add our crabs into the recipe, guys. We put our chicken in the pot first, guys, because chicken takes the longest to cook. So now we're going to add our king crabs. And we're just going to let them cook up for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to get into the rest of our recipe, guys. All right. Coming along here, guys. We're almost there. I'm going to put the top on it and let it cook for about 10 minutes. And then we are going to finish up our ingredients with this recipe. Okay, we're going to check on our crabs. We got our chicken in here. So can we get some chicken out of here, guys? See how it looks. We got some chicken, guys. And it's cooking up really well. And that chicken is falling off the bone, guys. So we almost there. So over here, guys, I have a little pan of water here that I am boiling. And I am going to add, you know, them shells that come off of your shrimp. We are going to add that into the water and just let them boil. This is where all your flavor at, guys. So we are going to let this boil up, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. Then after you boil your shells that came off of your shrimps, and I'm going to show you what we're going to use them for. And then you could just throw them away because we're just boiling our shrimp shells for flavor, okay? At this point, we don't want to put any more water in our gumbo. We want all the flavor. So we're gonna leave it just like this. And if we need to add any more water to this recipe, we are gonna use this water here that comes from our shrimp shells for flavor. And sometimes I just add some of my juices out the pot into my shrimp shells and just let it boil for about 10-15 minutes. Because it's almost time for us to mix all of our ingredients for this recipe, guys. So we're just gonna let this boil up with, see all our juices and all. See how the shells are turning like a reddish color. So we're gonna mix our recipe up in just a minute. Hang in there with me, guys. I know this is a long video. Alright guys, we're gonna get into mixing our recipe now. We're gonna add our sauces into the recipe. We're gonna add some okra into our recipe, guys. What I did with this okra, guys, it was frozen, so what I did is soaked it in some cool water. And then we are gonna add our shrimps to this recipe. Okay guys, we're gonna get right into whipping up our roux, our gumbo base, whichever one you want to call it. So here go our shrimps. And remember I told you could just throw them away. That's where all your flavor at. So now we're gonna mix this up. This is our gumbo base. Now you can buy this at Target's, Kroger's, Myers, anywhere that sell the Louisiana fish fry Caesar. Or you could even get Tony's brand. It's like a gumbo base. Now guys, I do have a homemade base that I make, but I'm not gonna be able to share that because that's my mom's recipe, and I don't want to get myself in trouble with my family, so we're not gonna share that today, but that might be at a later date. So we are gonna pour this into the pot. And you don't have to pour it all, guys. You could save some for later. And pour your base into the recipe. I think we got enough room. So we're just gonna mix that up, mix well. Then we are gonna put what they call pure ground gumbo filet into this recipe, guys. And we're gonna let this recipe cook for about 20 minutes. And our gumbo will be done. I'm gonna cook some rice, guys, and we're gonna come back with the presentation of this wonderful recipe. I'll see you guys on the next video.